This video is going to show you how to copy content from the virtual learning Canvas courses into your course so you can send it to your students. So you're going to need to be in the web browser app on your iPad. If you're using a computer, make sure, of course, you're going to be on a web browser, but most likely you're going to be at home on your iPad. So make sure you're either using Safari, Chrome, or the Firefox app, and you're in a web browser. This does not work in either one of the Canvas apps. So you're going to be going into your teacher course. Now, I'm going to be using my sandbox for this, since I do not have any courses as a teacher, and I don't want to mess up any of y'all's courses. So I'm actually in my course, and this is where I want to put my content. I already have a bunch of stuff in here, so just ignore that. So the first thing you're going to do when you get inside of your course is you're going to be scrolling down to the bottom of this list. Now, a helpful hint when you're on your iPad and scrolling, scroll with your finger over here or over here. If you start scrolling in the area where you have your modules or your assignments, you could potentially accidentally move those. So I started scrolling and it automatically is grabbing my modules and moving them. So just make sure you're scrolling on the side so that you don't mess up the order of your modules. Anyway, so back to importing. You're going to scroll to your settings. When you go into your settings on the right hand side, you're going to see import course content. Ignore export course content. You will never need to use that. You will only be importing from other courses where your content is located. So I'm going to tap import course content, and you're going to be working up here to find where your content is. So I'm going to choose to copy a Canvas course. Obviously, we're not copying the whole course, but we need to choose that so we can copy our content. We're going to come in here and we're going to search. So you can just search virtual. And when you search virtual, the different courses for your virtual learning will show up. I'm the CTIS, so I've been added to all of those courses. So let's pretend like I'm a math teacher. So I'm going to come and I'm going to choose that math course. If you teach more than one subject, you might be in more than one virtual learning course. But if you only teach one subject, there's probably going to be only one that shows up. So you're going to be choosing to select your specific content. You probably don't want to copy everything over because there's probably multiple grade levels in there and you're only going to be copying your grade level's content. There probably aren't any dates, so you don't have to worry about that. But if you're using these instructions for other things and there are dates, you can check that box and it will remove those dates. So after you have copy a course, the course where your content is located, and select specific content checked, you're going to tap import. Now that doesn't import anything yet. We have to go choose our content. So you'll have this button show up where you're going to select your content. Now, this is the virtual learning math course where everything has been added. And you can see there's 4 modules, 7 assignments, 1 quiz, question banks, pages, and files. There are little arrows here along the side where you can expand to see what is actually in those modules. They're so tiny that it might help to use your Apple Pencil to tap and expand to see those modules. So if you're the Algebra 1 teacher, if you want to go ahead and copy that entire module, that's the easiest thing to do because that's already been set up for you. So choose what you need. You can expand everything else. Take a look, because if you've been in there, you probably know what you want to copy. There are more arrows where you can actually go look. If you're copying the entire module over here, you do not need to go choose specific assignments and everything. If you're copying the entire module, everything else will fall in place along with it. So we're gonna test that to make sure that happens. So I'm going to only choose the Algebra 1 module, and I'm going to come and I'm going to tap the select content, and that's when it's going to begin importing that content into the course where you're located. So you can see it's been queued, it's going to start running, and when it's finished, you're going to see the green completed bar, and that way you can come to your modules and make sure that that imported correctly, which it probably did. Every once in a while, there is an error message that shows up, so you can check and see if that happens. Now, that module was called Algebra 1, and yes, I do have a lot in here, so I'm going to go look. Anytime you import content, usually if it's a module, it goes to the very bottom of your module list if you have other things in there. So as you can see, everything in that Algebra 1 module imported, and if you notice, none of it is published. So it does that by default so that if you don't want your students to see it yet, it won't show up for them. So yes, you will have to come and you will have to publish that module. Now, if you notice, as I tapped published, when I tap the module check, everything underneath it published. If you don't want everything to be published yet, you can come and you can individually unpublish those different weeks until you have showing what you want to show. But in order for the students to be able to see everything under here that is published, your module must be published. So as you can see right now, my module, as you can see right now, my module is not published. Even though these items are, the students still won't be able to see them until that module is published. So then I just published everything else, and I'll just take those off. And you're probably going to only want that first week showing, so make sure your module's published, make sure your items that you want them to see are published, and then when the following week comes and you have more content underneath there, you can come and you can copy that content underneath there. So basically, that is how you're going to copy your content over. If you ever end up copying content that's already there, you can always tap these three buttons and you can remove that content. You can edit that content, move it, do whatever you want to with it. If you have any questions, make sure to email me and I'll help you out as much as I can.